Trump did not invite Modi to attend his inauguration, which was a disdain for the world's largest democracy. Instead, he invited Xi Jinping, the president of China, which is considered a dictatorship by the Indians. However, Xi Jinping did not accept, but took a compromise and sent a high-level envoy, Han Zheng, to attend. Why do Indians desperately want Trump to invite them to highlight the value of democratic alliances, but Americans ignore it? What makes Indians even more upset is that Trump expressed his hope to visit China within 100 days. He seems to have a lot to talk to Xi Jinping about. India, a former Democratic Alliance and member of the Quad Security Dialogue, did not appear in the pages of American news. In fact, the people invited to Trump's inauguration this time are basically American politicians, well-known entrepreneurs, European right-wing leaders in other regions with similar political ideas to Trump, and China, which is the most concerned by American politicians. Because Washington, D.C. was too cold, the venue of the inauguration ceremony was changed from outdoor to indoor, and many foreign envoys who originally had the opportunity to attend were disqualified from watching the ceremony. If Xi Jinping is present in person, he can only wait in line with many politicians to meet Trump. It is not a glorious thing, and it is difficult for Chinese media to brag about it. If Modi is invited, then the Indian media will definitely celebrate and boast about India's superpower status. But the truth is cruel. Trump only invites people he thinks are important. It is said that von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission and the spokesperson for the interests of the United States in Europe, was not invited. What qualifications does Modi have? For the United States, India is just a watchdog. When it is needed, throw a bone to it to make it discuss China. When it is not needed, let it fend for itself. Wall Street even regards India as a reaping target and frantically shorts India. Such an ally is really not important. Australia and New Zealand are Anglo-Saxon compatriots. No matter how unimportant Japan and South Korea are, they are servants. But dogs can never seek equal status with humans. India's status is similar to that of the Philippines, a watchdog. The military bases in the Philippines are still important to the United States. India is not as valuable to the United States as the Philippines. I saw a very interesting joke. A Korean commented on China-US relations on Xiaohongshu and was angrily criticized by American netizens. For a conquered country like you, just pay the protection fee. We will protect you. It is not your turn to comment on the affairs of China and the United States. Yes, when core interests need to be negotiated, Trump has no time to meet with the watchdog. He has to meet with his rival, Xi Jinping, to deal with the practical interests he is concerned about. According to political commentators, Trump needs Xi Jinping's help in the following matters. 1. Help in combating drug crimes. The spread of fentanyl in the United States has left the U.S. government helpless, and the control of fentanyl must be fully cooperated by the Chinese government. Americans have always believed that because of the tension between the two countries, the Chinese have allowed fentanyl to be smuggled into the United States. This is actually a mean-spirited mind. China treats drugs very strictly, and it is impossible to condone drugs for political differences. However, Americans have done too many bad things and think that others are the same as them. That is, they do not trust China, so they have repeatedly asked China to increase its cooperation. I think if Trump personally asks, the Chinese government can only do some performances to comfort him. The main responsibility for the spread of fentanyl lies in the United States' insufficient crackdown on drugs and the negligence of the U.S. Police Department. These are what Chinese can't help them. 2. Solve China's trade surplus with the United States. Trump may ask China to increase imports from the United States and reduce exports to the United States to balance the trade between the two countries. But the problem is that many things China wants to buy, such as high-tech products represented by chips, are not sold by Americans. And the things that Americans want China to buy, such as agricultural products and energy, are related to national security. The Chinese dare not rely too much on the United States. If the relationship between the two countries becomes tense one day and the United States stops exporting to China, China will really have a hard time dealing with it. If China-US trade wants to truly interact in a benign manner, Americans need to put aside their confrontational thinking and seriously consider China's real interests. You can't have a good discussion with a person holding a stick. The most urgent thing is to find a stick yourself. 3. End the Ukrainian war. The United States believes that the Chinese government supports Russia, otherwise Russia would have collapsed long ago. But there is no evidence for this accusation, and China will not admit it. However, the United States and Europe have imposed such severe sanctions on Russia that Russia will not easily forgive Ukraine and will not make any substantial concessions. Even the Russians may increase their offensive and bring Zelensky down completely because the United States and the West are no longer willing to continue to increase their investment in Ukraine. If the West wants Russia to make concessions, it really needs to ask China to mediate. Ending the war in Ukraine is Trump's campaign promise, and it is difficult for him to do it without China's help. This may be his most likely political achievement, and China is also happy to help because opposing war is China's consistent position. I saw the news from Paki Sharma saying that Pannun, the leader of the Khalistani organization wanted by the Indian government, attended Trump's celebration party. She criticized this as a serious mistake by the Americans. She also said that Pannun must not have received an invitation from Trump, but bought the ticket himself. However, the fact is that when the celebration was moved from outdoor to indoor due to the low temperature, a large number of foreign envoys and institutions were disqualified from entering because there were too many people who wanted to attend. I don't know how Pannun got the ticket, but it is obviously not something that can be done by spending money, which shows that he has strong supporters in the American political circle. This is not a mistake by the Americans, but the Americans don't care about India's ideas at all. After all, Canada is the 51st state of the United States. Modi sent people to Canada to assassinate the Sikh leader, which is a great disrespect to the United States. The Biden administration has already slapped Modi in the face by shorting India and suing Adani, and Pannun's attendance at Trump's party is just another slap in Modi's face. Of course, Modi's fans don't have to be sad. Trump will think of Modi after dealing with his important matters. When Wall Street has harvested from India and made enough money, when the relationship between the United States and China becomes tense again and the confrontation escalates, Trump will call Modi and tell him, "Hey brother, it's time for us to meet. This time, I have prepared 100 bones for you. You must shout at China and it's best to bite it. For freedom and democracy." At that time, Paki Sharma will definitely cheer again. Look, how valuable our democratic alliance is,